Good morning, everybody. What is up? Happy Monday. Man, what a weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the weekend. What's up? June, June's in the house, Jill's in the house. Midwest with the first W's across the board. Love it, man. Greetings from Israel. Holy moly. Holy moly. Greetings. Man, you guys coming over. This is it coming over from Mitz? Nice. Did he just shut her down? He should drop the video when he closes up on Mondays. But yeah, we are almost on time. Never really exactly on time. Close enough. We got our good friend in the house. Emp is in the house. What's up, dude? Happy
What's up?
Monday.
Happy
Happy Monday,
Monday.
my friend. Do you have a good weekend?
What a great weekend.
Dude.
Great weekend. Got the kids out in the little pool in the backyard, sat down, listened to some old school music with them.
Nice.
Good. It was a good weekend.
Right on, dude. I feel like weekends have just gotten so much busier with children. Like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
welcome. Welcome to parenthood, dude.
Yeah, man. We went to where we go? We went to San Diego for the weekend. My buddy, what is it? Retired from the Navy. So there's like big retirement session. I can't believe that means we're getting old. I'm getting old when my friends are literally retiring, and I'm like, oh man. Thank you, June, for sure. Appreciate that. Happy Monday. Take another week off. No, it wasn't a whole week. It was just it was Thursday, Friday, and Thursday was the day. So if you didn't know, Thursday was the day. I did on the thumbnail today. Look at this. This is weird. All right. I can vibe with this layout. Looks like Restream's doing a little something different here. But Thursday we did get this rare signal. Do you know what this is? Did you hear about this? Emp?
The swig thrust or whatever.
Yeah. The breath thrust. Has anybody heard of this?
I do think it's important to look at the list of points that
Yeah.
that old Marty laid out. Like he didn't buy anything with a P over a 20 and some other pieces of that, but it is interesting. It is very rare.
It is a rare. Here's the headline. 100% accuracy bullish signal after a 3-day rally. I believe this was Thursday. April was the 25th. This is Friday. Friday they published this. So 100% accurate 3. I don't know the details on this. But since World War II, 1940s, 6-month return of 14.8%, 12-month of 23.4%. This is a 100% accuracy. This is not a short-term signal, my friend. I didn't realize it is not a short-term signal. Goodness. But I can say this. I'm actually with it. So even though today doesn't feel or look that great, we did open up pretty green early on in the day, but I do believe that the BTFD mode can be engaged. The question, I guess, is, and this is what we've been talking about in our server. The question is, when and where do you buy the dip, right?
And that Zwig thrust is it's 19 for 19 since World War II, but
Yeah.
it's talking more about 6 to 12 months later you are higher
Yeah,
at 19
exactly.
out
So
of
I'm like,
19
okay,
times.
this is not a short-term signal. The signal has been 100% accurate since World War II for higher between 6 and 12 months every single time. Is that crazy?
There it is right there, 19 ZBT
19
signals.
so far. 6-month return of 14.8, which, by the way, if you didn't know, we're like 15% off the lows already, which is kind of crazy. And 23.4% according to Dietrich.
That's crazy. I was going through my portfolio Friday afternoon and again this morning of
Yeah.
all the equity that I bought, and some of the things are up like 30%. I did not realize how much some of these things had moved.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really, especially if you're buying the dip a lot higher, then you're like, I don't, you're still probably red on a lot of stuff, but that's the signal. And I mean, 100% accuracy signal from a long-term thing is pretty wild, right? So that headline came out over the weekend. I don't know if you hit your X feeds or not.
Take a look at your Discord real fast. I just dropped the full stats in there.
Yeah, weeks 1 through 6 are about 1.2%. 1.2%. I do like that. Where in the Discord? What am I? No, you got me on my phone.
It's on the main, whatever, member chat.
Let me see. This is Discord. Yeah, very bullish thrust just triggered. This is it. Let me see if I can open this so you can see it a little bit better. There you go. So these are the 19 times.
Yes, you can see
There
that
you
it's
go.
the 6 and
1
12
month,
month
3
is
months,
higher
6
every
months, 12
time.
months. So, I mean, this confirms generally like my sentiment. So, if you don't know my sentiment, it's still to this day pinned to my profile. It is Friday, right? So it's like of that Friday high, this is April 7th. So what day did we trigger this? Pretty sure it was like Thursday.
24th, yeah.
Yeah. If we are above Friday's high, we are going up. And let's see what day was that? So daily. And we'll go through the rest of the charts in a little bit. But I'll take this off. This is that level. So this is Monday, Tuesday. So I got on Wednesday. On Wednesday, push through, confirm. Generally speaking, this does turn into buy the dip mode for me. And that trigger on Tuesday is 526.59. So anything in between to me, and we'll go through this in a little bit, is going to be BTFD. So anyways, just going to recap a little bit here. So again, stocks trigger that 100% accurate bullish signal after the 3-day rally. I just thought that's wild. Couple headlines, and I didn't get a whole lot, Em. So if you have stuff that you want to pull up, just let me know. World stocks hang on to hope as trade talk confusion lingers. This was weird. So trade talk confusion. So is it Besant or Besant? I don't know. Treasury Secretary Besant, whatever, says it's up to China. This was the headline. Says it's up to China to de-escalate trade tensions. What I'll say is, that's not going to be something that the market probably likes. I just don't think that they're really going to be that into that. But if you listen to the actual interview, because he did do a CNBC interview, it was not bearish at all. So it was like, yeah, I think basically he thinks that we're gonna have some kind of deal as soon as a couple weeks, but we'll see, right? Like, can the market change on a dime here? Like, can it pivot really fast? Absolutely. So this is not what I will say. This is not the market. That's Bassnet. This is not the market to take a trade if you're trading, to take like a day trade and walk away, right? Like it's still not that case. Generally speaking, can we go up, a lot from here over the next 6 months? Absolutely, right? But between now and then, look, it's still very choppy, right? There's another headline. Agriculture isn't nearing trade war tariff crisis. It's full-blown crisis already. So there's still some bearish areas in the market. But in general, I do think it is we're mostly out of the woods. Like, so the question is back to this seasonal kind of recap. I just updated this a little bit. So we are here on the seasonality chart. Technically, we should be at prior highs if this 4-year. So this is the 4-year presidential cycle. So year 1, 2, 3, and 4. Year 2 is the midterm year. This guy with the vape. Year 2 is the midterm year. Not necessarily the best time to buy. Usually very choppy year. That's next year. So, the rally could take us seasonally into like middle end of July. And we'll kind of see where we are from there. Does that mean that we really top out around there? I don't know. But you do want to get a little more cautious at that point in time. But anyways, yeah. So that said, this is where we are on the seasonal calendar. We are on our way to this press. You know, it looks a little shaky at the moment, but honestly, I'm really not that concerned. I'm just gonna pull up some more
But
charts here.
I mean, we went up 4 days in a row. Like
We went
coming
up a
back down
lot,
a
actually.
lot in 4 days. So coming back down a little bit today makes sense. But I
You know
like the
what's
buy the
loving
dip mode.
this chop right now is my condors.
Oh
I
yeah,
was sitting in some red for a minute there, but yeah, no, they're going green today. I'm gonna close a couple out, like hopefully in bright green. Oh, look at this. Did you send some more stuff? Oh, it has rules. I didn't
yeah. So
realize this
that
thing
was
has
kind of the comment I
rules.
was making, because a lot of people are like, "Hey, this is what it is, right?" And yeah, if you just take it for the surface level, the 16 or 19 for 19, whatever. But it doesn't mean just buy everything on the dip. He had like a specific set of things that he looked for.
Oh, so you did catch this on your feed for sure. If you buy for a reason and that reason is discounted or is no longer valid, then sell. Okay. If values don't make sense, don't participate. The cheap get cheaper. I've been saying that for a long time. Google, cough, cough, right? But we'll see, right? Don't fight the Fed. Speaking of Fed, we haven't looked at this in a little while. I think this is definitely worth a look. So I just go CBOE Fed Watch tool, click here, and this is actually going to kind of give you a view on where we are. I'm going to let's go to probabilities.
Yeah, I
So
like this one.
right now, so 5/7, this is the next FOMC date. It's 91.1% probability of a pause, of nothing happening. So it's not priced in. But then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rate cuts back to back right after that. So the market currently is pricing in a pause. And then we start cutting 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts. Let's say they're 25%, 25 basis points. That's going to take us from 425 to 325. So a whole percent over the next year, basically. So
They
this
are
is
in
into
a
December.
blackout period as well. As of Friday at midnight, you won't hear any Fed speakers until we hear from Powell on the 7th.
There you go. Yeah, they got it all out of their system after the beige book last
Boy,
week.
did they.
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
Don't look at this. Look at these rules. I mean, don't blame your mistakes on the market. Don't play all the time. Market is not efficient, but it's still tough to beat. These are crazy answers or crazy rules. If you can't sleep at night, I don't know that these are just rules in general for trading. Short-term
Yeah, you can
information.
go way deeper than this. This is just like the kind of the first page of technical analysis that he put out.
Yeah. These are, you know what? These are rules forever.
These are rules that you
Adapt to
teach on
change.
a daily basis, and this
Yeah.
is from 1990. This printout here.
Yeah. Don't let your opinion of what should happen bias your trading strategy. Yeah. No, those are just good rules in general. But I mean, that's
I
pinnable,
like
man.
number 11 is my favorite.
I think that's pinnable for the server.
Yeah, don't play all the time. That's my favorite one. Number
Yeah.
11.
Nice. All right. So back to where we are. We'll see, right? I think here's what I will say. Um, feels like Dave Ramsey. And Patrick, I doubt the cuts. Yeah, we'll see. The thing is, if we cut for like a full percentage over the next 12 months, it's more of like, why are we cutting? If we're gonna cut a full percent over the next 12 months, it's more of a why. So like, do we need to because of the labor market, right? And I think that's really important to understand, right? And we'll get into the data in a little bit and what the calendar looks like. Just high level, we really don't have anything today. Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index actually coming in a little bit lower. The Fed manufacturing indexes have been pretty weak across the board in general, but again, I don't think that trade war commentary is gonna breach these recent lows. I'll just say it that way. I think that's pretty safe. I've been saying this for a while. It's like, liquidation Monday over the weekend after Liberation Day, people put the call in, right? Like, I don't trust what he's doing, sell it all. We run out of sellers that Monday. That happens over the weekend. We run out of sellers that Monday, and that ends up being the absolute low. At that point in time, we're 10% 10% blanket tariffs, reciprocal tariffs, 35% reciprocal tariffs on China. And now we're still at 250% reciprocal, retaliatory, reciprocal tariffs on China, and all the tariffs are more or less still in place. So the tariff war has gotten worse, yet the market has pretty much priced it all in at this point. So I do thoroughly believe that it would have to be a different type of, call it black swan event, to actually, it would have to be a different type of black swan event to really hit the markets and make new lows. So Tuesday, nothing. Tuesday, we get some data that could potentially start to move the market. That's tomorrow. So jolts we get tomorrow. Again, labor market is going to be massive focus, right? If it's not 100% of your focus, it's pretty much this week. If the labor market starts to weaken, then sure, those cuts are probably justified. But that's what the market's going to be starting to watch, right? I think you still need to definitively watch things like interest rates, any bond auction, not bill auction, but I would say any longer term bond auction is still going to be important to see if we've pissed enough countries off to not show up to our bond auctions. That's important, right? But Wednesday we get really into the weeds here. So Wednesday we get GDP. I think it's the first look on GDP. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I believe it's the first look GDP. And then we have PCE, which is the Fed's favorite inflation gauge. It's kind of like PPI, CPI together, but we get PCE. And then Thursday, again, ISM Manufacturing Index. And Friday, we have that all-important NFP, which will determine the rest of the market trend for May. So between now and then, I think we could make a slow grind higher, but in general, it's probably buyable dips, more likely. Earnings calendar is pretty. I'll just quick, and then we'll go over to the Lux Algo Catalyst watch. I mean, Domino's was hit pretty hard today, right? Oh, Domino's recovering. So even if you weren't this is interesting. Domino's recovering. It was down in the pre. Well, this thing was down like $30 early and has more or less recovered all of that. Interesting. NXPI could be. Have we had any semis report yet? Like major semis?
Major, not really. We had Lamb Research last week. We've had the ASML.
ASML. Let me see ASML.
Taiwan
ASML.
Semi. But we haven't had like an NVDA or an AMD.
ASML was kind of like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Not this report. TSM, again, in the middle of it. So I think today after the close, NXPI is probably going to be the first major semi that could set the tone. It might be a little bit of a precursor. This is post, like main tariff headlines. See how they're dealing with it. Potentially some like Cadence also. Cadence would be more in the AI world. SoFi. I saw SoFi this morning. It was over 13. Oh, look at that. 1350 early. 1330. So SoFi, we know SoFi. SoFi is going to be interesting, man. All I say, SoFi has this tendency, double beat, double skeet after the report. They've made a nice little bounce from.
And we had that headline. We had the headline about the delinquent student loans that are going to have to start being paid back again.
But they also had a huge shift in their business recently. I don't know. This is $9 the other day. SoFi. Yeah. $9 the other day is up 57% from the lows. Can you believe that? That's insane. 57% from the lows. Look at that. Imagine. 57% from the lows.
On equity alone.
Yeah. Well, equity. That's crazy. PayPal. PayPal's PayPaling, right? It hasn't gone anywhere. I don't know what's going on. Apparently, they're still doing buybacks, but I don't know. Yeah, interesting. Pfizer way down. Royal Caribbean. So the cruise lines have been hit pretty bad, but I think they're kind of basing out. Oh yeah, oh geez, Carnival all the way back to 18. What's Norwegian? NCLH. This could be pairs trade. So for your if Royal Caribbean does all right, that's like a pairs trade for your CCL, NCLH, Norwegian, Carnival, etc. Anybody watch Shift 4 anymore? Are we playing SoFi earnings? Dude, the way that you play SoFi earnings is that you buy equity and you sell it after hours. That's you sell it after hours, literally the second that they report. So it's not with options, that's for sure. For 3 minutes exactly, right? But yeah. Oh, look at this, John. New York trying to shut down Tesla showrooms. You know, Tesla, we'll look at Tesla. I mean, what a rip, right? After that, off that move, it just tagged that 200-day simple, but I don't know. Tesla would be on the shopping list. I mean, I already own a lot of Tesla, so it's like whatever, but I don't hate it. Coke is going to be interesting. So Pepsi reported they were down like 5%. Coke doesn't usually move a whole lot. I'm not long Coke into this print. I'm thinking I need to trim a little bit just because I might be a little bit far and they don't move that much. I think the most that they moved in the last year and a half is like 4.4%, which was kind of an outlier. But we'll see. Ultra event smoke, Starbucks, Visa, Snapchat. That's probably your trader right there. There's nothing wrong with Snap, and I think I saw it at $8 this morning, $8.80.
What are we doing here, Paper? Are we long MSN Messenger and AOL too? Like, what are we doing?
No, dude. I mean, ask the kids. They live on this thing, as far as I understand it.
They overpay their creators. Bad business.
This thing is at the lows, dude.
It's dead.
It's at the lows. I don't think it's dead. I honestly
don't think it's a short.
I
just don't know. I'm not comfortable owning an obsolete.
Is anybody along Snapchat? I don't know.
Instagram, WhatsApp, like every other
dude, they've had nothing but good quarters, to be honest.
Yeah, and they overpay their creators and don't make any money.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. AOL Life.
I'm sorry.
Snap is popping. Yeah. I mean,
hit me up on AIM next.
0 Fs. Snap is popping. I don't know if he's like in general, like, is that a sense the company is popping, the app is popping off? I don't know. Hey, dude, this is the low end of the range. I don't know. I feel like that's tradable. I can't believe I'm actually legitimate thinking. Oh yeah,
you could probably buy some equity on the dip when they miss.
Gerg is always long Snap, dude. That's like one of his main trade, like main plays. I don't know what to say about that one. You guys, not dealing with, not like it. Bop Snap, yeah, there you go. I think that's how you'd play it, right? Because these things are, but the app is popping. Yeah. Does that mean they're making money? I don't know. It's not at a bad price. You cannot deny that it's not at a bad price. Oh shit. Shoot. I hate that. Okay, Visa. So yeah, so anyways, we're in the meat of it. This is earnings season. I'm gonna have to do an earnings training pretty soon. So we got NFP coming. We're in the heat of earnings season. We have Amazon and Apple Thursday after the close right over here. We have Microsoft and Meta Wednesday after the close. I think it's time. I think we do a free training. Yeah, I'll get that out this week and I'll schedule it. But yeah, it's time to teach how to trade earnings with options if you do want to do that. So I'll teach you guys how to do that. And then maybe we'll do a little NFP training also after Friday. But yeah, we will do that. Doesn't Snap like in 90% of yeah, it does.
I was saying, like,
Is
let it
it?
sell off and buy the
Did I?
dip
It's a
maybe
trade,
for a
man. It
while.
is a trade. It's a trade. Yeah, and
I
people
don't know.
don't like don't drink Pepsi. I mean, the Coke thing. It's what is it? It's the GLP-1s, right? I don't know.
It's
GLP-1s.
RFK. It's RFK risk, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay.
I don't know. We're
Reddit.
talking a whole lot about these little names that we have 4 Mag 7s coming up,
Yeah,
Robinhood coming up. We're
Microsoft,
talking about Snapchat over here.
Microsoft, Meta, Wednesday after the close, Amazon and Apple. I mean, we're talking about Snapchat to be fair, because like they're like easier trades right now, right?
Touche,
Like
touche.
it I don't see, so Microsoft Meta in general, they honestly they don't have a ton of like direct tariff risk per se. I wouldn't, well, maybe Microsoft. Amazon and Apple, they definitely do. So those might be a little bit shakier, but I think after those two report, Amazon and Apple, the market's going to have a pretty good idea of like how most companies are going to react, and how they're going to be affected by this. What they're going to be doing rather, for the trade wars. uh, Gilwise says Meta's going to be a banger. Microsoft underwhelms. I will tell you that I usually do a neutral trade on both Microsoft and on Apple. Pepsi rushing and removal. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Coke is at risk. It's been actually a pretty good chart, but I think for this earnings, which is tomorrow morning,
Well,
I
what do
think it
you
might
think,
be
hey,
a
for
little bit at
all
risk.
these, a lot of these safe, those are more like safe names, right? Like safety type of plays. And it seems like a lot of people are kind of rushing out of those to maybe get back in the other names right
Exactly
now. I
that,
don't know.
right? So exactly that as well. We'll take a look at gold today also for the charts, because again, it's something that we definitely want to be watchful of. Like if gold's not pulling back, which last I checked it was not, um, it's you want to see gold pull back a little bit. It's so high. I mean, maybe gold is a good candidate for some iron condor neutral trades, but it's not continuing the downtrend today, at least for now. McDonald's, is McDonald's at risk? Ooh, I don't know.
Like they have too much lobbying power.
I mean, Shake Shack stuff. Oh, Quanta. Oh crap, I got to check on my Quanta. So Quanta's there. Chevron and Exxon also Friday before the open. Those are going to be interesting for like if you're in Oxy or any of that kind of stuff. But but that's what I got for now. You know what we're going to do is we're going to go every Friday. Can you drop the Lux handle in the chat, or somebody? If you don't give these guys a follow, let me see if I can find it. Is Lux Algo every Sunday? I think it's Sunday.
Yes, Sunday, usually around 6 or 6 to 8 p.m. That range. So like
Yeah,
as you're checking in on Sunday night, getting ready for your week, it's a perfect deal.
it's a full catalyst watch, right? So every Sunday it's a full catalyst watch, not just the economic calendar, definitely part of the economic calendar. But Emp, you want to go ahead and give it a go, and we are ready to roll with the catalyst watch. We should get an intro for Lux. I need Lux to send us a quick intro for them.
Yeah, we need a little intro thing. Is that big enough for everyone?
Let's do this.
There we go. Okay. We'll zoom in one more time, two more times. There we go. All right. Well, it is the biggest earnings week of the quarter, and Mag 7's playing for all the chips. Check this out right here. What do you
Dude.
notice in this picture right here? It's hungry, hungry hippos. What do you notice?
I love Hungry Hippos. Everybody's got China is in the mix with Meta, Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon.
China with the
Interesting.
rubber bands around its mouth. That
Oh, that's
cracked me up. I
hilarious.
missed that the first time. And of course, you've got NVDA, a couple little Intel down here. They're all trying to gobble it up. Uh, Great work from the the Lux Algo team. They hit with these every week. They really
Dude,
do.
that's funny.
All right, Monday. This is today. Today was the lightest day we'll have the whole week. The rest of the week's going to get a
Yeah.
little bit wild. So I won't even spend much time on this. You already kind of hit the earnings. We do have waste management this afternoon. If anybody's long garbage, um,
That is your
they do
staple of
more than that.
staples, by the way, though.
Yeah, and they do more than that. So all right, tomorrow, Tuesday. Uh, It is a holiday in Japan, so if you do trade overnight or pay attention to the evening session, just know that Japan has a holiday tonight going into tomorrow. Meta has a LlamaCon event, AI event. So that needs to be on your radar if you trade Meta or anybody that maybe
LlamaCon.
uses Llama, their AI system. Keep that on your radar. US trade balance, retail inventories, the Case-Shiller home price. It's not a big thing there. Jolts, got a little chili pepper here. Jolts job openings while the market's open tomorrow, 10 a.m. That'll be interesting. I did mention earlier,
Is
all
it
Fed
my calendar
speakers.
didn't show it as it's oh, okay, so that's midday. My calendar maybe I had my times off. Okay, so that's notable, right? So oh, Jolts is 10 a.m. while the opening is tomorrow is
Yeah,
PCE.
this is job openings, Jolts job openings on Tuesday. And then obviously all of your earnings, you mentioned most of these already for Tuesday, but a lot of different ones. JetBlue, one of your airlines is in there. Pfizer, Spotify, a big one. A lot of people have been trading this recently. It's, I think, at all-time highs, if not making current all-time highs. So that one on your radar. Visa, Snap, Starbucks. Boy, what a saga with Starbucks, new CEO and all that stuff. What are they doing? That'll be interesting. Wednesday, we start to get a little bit spicier when we get into the earnings, but we do get the early non-farm payrolls from ADP. I usually don't see much reaction to these data, but month-over-month PCE price index, we'll get that while the market's open once again at 10 a.m. Eastern. All of these are Eastern times. U.S. pending home sales at 10. JPY interest rate decision. So
Oh.
Bank of Japan,
Okay,
BOJ.
so that's one that's not on any calendars that I have, but that's yeah, end of
That's
year
it's a
yield
big one to
curve
pay attention
control.
to. And they keep pushing up their interest rate a little bit, which was at basically zero for 30 years or
Yeah,
whatever it was.
YCC, right? Yield curve control.
Yes, and it keeps creeping up. So that'll be interesting, especially the commentary around that. The market does react to that. A lot of people obviously taking yen exposure at cheap and reinvesting it for a higher return elsewhere that are having to unwind some of that. You've probably heard about the yen carry trade at some point.
Yeah.
Top earnings on Wednesday. We do have Caterpillar, something I'll be
Cat can
watching.
get an honorable mention. Honorable mention for Cat for sure.
Yeah, but Meta, Microsoft, Hood, Qualcomm. Don't forget Qualcomm, even though all of our eyes will be on these three for sure, especially if you're in this group. I know all of our eyes will be on this, but don't leave Qualcomm out. That will be an interesting earnings, especially with everything that's going on right now. But Meta, Microsoft, Robinhood. Hey, Robinhood's going to tell us about what these prediction contract markets are
I'm
bringing
not
in.
super. I mean, the prediction mark. I don't know, but I am interested. Like, man, if Robinhood has commentary that's like retail, I think this is going to be interesting. If Robinhood has commentary that like retail has been buying the dip hand over fist and continues to do so, we saw them hit number one on the App Store. Like that's crazy, right?
Yeah,
We're in their category, but I mean, good for them. If trading volumes picked up during this more recent period, uh, that could be interesting. And I think that's going to be notable for sure.
if they get some more revenue growth going over here. Yeah, anyways, Robinhood, I think it'd be interesting to hear. And plus, we heard a bunch of updates, new things that they're bringing to the app. Do we get any additional commentary around those timelines and stuff? So we'll see how that goes. Thursday, weekly jobless claims in the morning. We do get S&P manufacturing PMI and ISM manufacturing PMI at 9:45 and 10 respectively. Fed balance sheet, after the close, not really worried about it. But earnings that day, MasterCard, McDonald's, Eli Lilly, and Roblox in the morning. And then, of course, Apple and Amazon. So 4 of your Mag 7 names reporting this week, Apple and Amazon after the close on Thursday. You also have Reddit, Riot, Bitcoin miners. I don't even like mentioning that name. I just, what are we doing? I don't know. But that's a whole nother argument. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but definitely some people I'm sure are probably interested in Bitcoin miners,
Reddit could
but
be interesting.
Bitcoin's interesting actually in general. Reddit will be interesting for sure. I've heard rumblings that they're trying to throw AI stuff into it. The amount of
Yeah.
data that Reddit has, how do they monetize at some point is going to be a big deal. But Reddit's data, if you think about the amount of data they have on users, that data is like gold right now, right? So
Yeah.
that'll be interesting. Airbnb, it kind of goes with the travel thing you were talking about a little bit earlier with the cruise lines. What's travel looking like? Are people pulling back? That'd be interesting.
Oh, we got
And then
sirens for Friday. There you go.
yeah, Friday. There we go. April jobs report. All right. So before we get that,
Oh,
just in general
Google
that day.
antitrust remedy hearing. Okay.
Yes.
I
So
I
the
missed that.
next
Again,
piece.
this
Yeah.
is why following Lux is so important and looking at these catalyst reports. That's not couple things so far, not on any calendars at all, but Google antitrust remedy hearing, Meta in the middle of their antitrust situations till
Yeah.
man.
So you have the Meta LlamaCon thing and Google that are not going to be on a lot of your catalyst watches that, the average calendar that's put out there. So that's why Lux Algo is the best in my opinion. But yeah, definitely Google headlines, what's going to go on. I saw a headline. They're trying to force them to sell Chrome and Yahoo wants it, which what a role reversal that would be.
What is
Of course
Yahoo's
of course
ticker?
they
Is that
want it.
even like wait, what is Yahoo's ticker? Does anybody know Yahoo's ticker? Like, oh god. They were
Are they?
bought by somebody. I don't know who it is. I don't know the company.
I can't remember if they were still public. I have no idea. I don't know. Somebody let us know. I'm curious.
No,
I
it's still a company, that's for sure. I don't think.
well, yeah, I know there's still company, but what I don't know.
So is AOL
Anyways,
for that matter.
they're okay. There's your point. All right. But yeah, this is where things get really spicy. That's why the sirens are on here. Unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls, right here.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
the
the big
day.
one, the big daddy, the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl of data
The
reports that we
Rose
get.
Bowl.
This is the non-farm payroll on Friday before the market opens at 9:30. Average hourly earnings. All of this is kind of all encompassing in that one massive data release that we get. So definitely paying attention to that. That's the biggest thing. Of course, there are some earnings before the market. Fubo. Who are they still maybe in
I think
talks with
Fubo
Disney or
was gonna
whatever?
buy like Hulu
Or
or something
Hulu?
like that.
Yeah, there was something I can't remember what it was. They were they were they were gonna
But
they were
it's
buyout
since given
candidate or
all
merge
that move
candidate. So
back.
yeah, so whatever. Um, some energy names reporting here too before
Yeah.
the
So
open.
so Friday kicks
We're
off
gonna
energy Friday morning.
we literally get everything this week. We get every earnings like
Oh,
category
there's
or bucket.
Apollo. I think Apollo bought them?
Hollow Global Management. There we
Yeah.
go. Shout out to you, Mike. Appreciate that. But yeah, so
Thank you
Friday.
for I've never tried eating Fridays on again.
But
Hilarious, dude.
yeah, that's
Is NFP a
NFP.
bigger deal than GDP? We'll talk about this. But
I think.
yeah, go
Well,
ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, finish.
I think it's bigger. I think the market does care more about it. The interesting thing to me is how much does the market care about any data right now when things could look much differently once some type of trade deal gets signed. Like that's probably like the biggest rain cloud that's sitting over my head that still has me kind of like wondering what's going on here because we've had a 2 week pause at the ninth. So what are we almost 4 weeks later?
Mhm.
We have zero deals in place anywhere. There's no and so like
You're talking
when
about
this data
trade
is coming
deals.
out, yeah, trade deals. And so this data is coming out, and like if you're looking at GDP, well, how do you forecast anything in the future? I mean, yeah, we can pay attention to what's going on currently, but just in the current scenario we're in, where things could look much different in 2 weeks and 2 months and 90 days, whatever the time frame ends up being.
Yeah.
I just wonder how much weight. That's just kind of my general thesis right now. How much is the market really caring about the current data, knowing that it could look so different in the future? I don't know. But
So
yeah,
I think to that
that's
point,
it for me.
that does put non-farm payrolls slightly higher on that tier for me, right? Again, because non-farm, so GDP is kind of like the forecast. We get like 3 looks at GDP forecasts, right? You don't want to do anything on a forecast number for GDP in general. But if you think about it, like the market runs more or less off that GDP. And so how would our GDP go higher as we sell more stuff, we consume more things, right? Um, and so non-farm payrolls is the number of how many jobs were actually taken the month before. And so if we do, let's say we have really strong non-farm payroll numbers, if more jobs were taken the month before, you can kind of like prognosticate. You basically implies that more people will have more money to spend. And that then will trickle down into PCE, which is your actual personal consumption expenditures, which will then show up in CPE, your consumer price index, or i.e. inflation. And those are why that's why those numbers are important, and they all kind of come back to GDP. But the most leading data point of all of those is that non-farm payroll number, based on that logic that we just kind of walked through right now. So that said, GDP is the king, whatever, but we get three looks at it every quarter or every whatever, every month, and but it's all like non-farm payrolls is the only one that's kind of like imputes a bit of a forward look. Does that make sense? What are you looking at? How many? 228K?
No, I was just pulling up the last one. Here's what NFPs looked like the last
Yeah, and
few
also going to be
months.
super important because the 4 rate cuts that are priced in for this year per the Fed Watch tool, right? If the economy's doing really well, like, do they really need to keep those rate cuts on the table?
I
I
don't think they
mean,
can. I think they can sit and do nothing because they have an easy out right now. I think if
yeah, they
you're
have an easy
out,
out right now.
you can just sit and say, "Hey, well, we couldn't cut right now because of all the unknowns." Right? The data's
Yeah.
not telling us to cut. Like everything looks okay. I think they can just sit on it. I think that's. I think a pause is the most likely until something changes.
Bizilla. And no, there's no GDP indicator made. So no, it's not as important. Full stop. Um,
Yeah, we don't have GDP levels.
yeah, we don't have GDP levels. We don't even have CPI levels or PCE levels. We don't. I tried to look at them, but they never. I have looked at them, but it's not something that.
Look at this forecast: 0.4 to 0.5.
Yeah,
We haven't had a negative. That would be the lowest one since Q2 of 2022 if we get down there.
if they don't cut, it'll be because of inflation. I mean, they're going to look at the labor market, really. And that's why, so the Fed's going to be looking at the labor market heavily and seeing like if large companies are cutting their workforce to absorb some of those costs, yeah, they're going to want to like, we need to run more efficiently, blah, blah, blah. Um, it's gonna start to show up in that labor number. So this is again why the job market, why the labor market uh, is always top of my like major focus, but even more so now. What I'll say about trading this Friday is that we can get very heavy reactions on the non-farm payroll number, especially if we have a ton of revisions, which we've been getting massively. But we can get a big reaction from a price perspective on a non-farm payroll day, but a lot of that is mostly knee-jerk reactions on a headline number, and then it takes the market a little bit to digest that data. So if you're going to be an active trader, like day trader, Friday's a day that you need to show up to. Like you show up Friday ready to work as an active trader, because that might be the last good day that you get in a whole month, to be completely honest. If you don't
No.
know, because and we don't like, you don't take anything as like this is what's going to continue on. You don't know that, right? Most of the time it doesn't continue on, but that Friday, if it's a big move, it can be the last big move that you see in a while, like for weeks. So you definitely want to show up Friday as a trader, as an active trader. But as an investor, you want to note that Friday's move and say, okay, are we trending above it or below it? Because 90% of the time, that Friday price action actually defines the high or the low for the entire month moving forward. And so you can base your trend based on that tomorrow Friday's move. Did I just say the quiet part out loud? I mean, it's important, right? It's important. If you didn't know, now you do. It's a real thing. It's very serious. Like, it might be the last good day that you get in a very long time, man. But yeah, I think so. Appreciate that. Appreciate Lux. If you guys aren't following Lux, always a good follow. Always cool. Lots of news, lots of memes. Not really a lot of fluff, dude. So they give out good stuff, even if it looks fun. It's like it's real stuff. But anyways, I think there was a question in here. It's all good. But you know what? We do have our other friend, since we're focusing so much on technicals and TA, we do have to check in with Miss Cleo and see what the other T in TA stands for this week, and that is tarot. So here we go. All right, it is time. We are here. Everybody's favorite part of the show. This is for our comedic relief, but it is wild. I will say it's absolutely insane. How she does this. Sometimes she hits it out of the park. We'll see. So anyways, this is how it works. So every week we get a theme card at the top. That this looks like person carrying two swords. A lot of like silvery blues. I don't know. Is this? I kind of gave up on my silver trade. I thought it was a little tired, but maybe I need to pick this back up again. I see a lot of silver themes here. But anyways, Two of Swords. Today is the Knight of Swords. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tomorrow is the Seven of, I think this is Pentacles. Seven of coin, Pentacles. What is he doing? Is this guy? He's just like, it's a guy. Is he shoving?
He's leaning on what's he leaning on? A staff?
A stick. Is that water? I don't know. This is always interesting. So like, this is the Knight charging into battle. We charged into battle this morning.
Yeah.
But maybe, and then I don't know what this is, but I don't feel like it's that great of a card. And then this is Hanging Man. Have you ever noticed that the Hangman card actually lines up with like a Hanging Man candle?
Yeah.
It's weird.
A reversal. I've always noticed it's like a reversal.
So he's upside down. No. I guess the question is, this is going to be a hammer, or like, because if we're going to come down into Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if we're going to come into Wednesday,
I was hoping we'd come down into Wednesday, and then that was the long. But I don't like this guy hanging upside down on Wednesday.
But it could be a hammer. It could be like, what's a hammer look like?
It could always be the bear. It could always be a bear. A bear getting hung.
I think Wednesday, this is what she's saying. I'm going to read in between the tarot cards here, is if we open red, close green on Wednesday, is a long.
Oh, and he has red pants on too. That's perfect.
Oh, God. Hanging Man. I don't even know what this is. Two of Wands. Miss Cleo really, I don't know if this is glare or she needs to get a new deck. Looks like glare.
It's glare. Two of Wands before like a what? Nine of Wands? Oh, boy.
Yeah. So
like Thursday's the beginning of something.
This is accelerating. Something's accelerating. Yes. But Wands are kind of like whipsaw. I don't know. But you know what? Let's see what she has to say. So here's the forecast. So the theme card is the Two of Swords. We're blindfolded and stuck between two paths. Okay. As with most two cards, this implies balance and indecision. My coin. By the way, Mega Cap week tends to be extremely choppy, and we don't have all the mega caps like trading together like in the same week, reporting in the same exact week. But when we do, that actually chop tends to be slightly red for that, slightly red, but it's very choppy for that full week. And if you're trading at the index level, those implied moves for your mega cap earnings, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Amazon, is built into the index right now. So that'll come off at the end of the week. Balance and indecision. This can be expected after a decent week of rallying. It's almost like she watched the market. I don't know. That lured traders into buying calls. Now she's a trader. Okay. I don't know. Look for a weekly close about where we started. Condor week, baby. Look for a weekly close about where we started. We'll probably sell rallies and buy dips for most of the week. I like to buy the dips. Buy the dips. Looks like Wednesday day. Is so far what the cards say. Monday is the Knight of Swords. Look for initial surge. She sends this out on Sunday night. What's crazy about it, she sends this out on Sunday night. Even if she waited till the futures opened, we had a gap down on Sunday night. But she's calling for Monday initial surge, usually in the form of a gap up or early rally, and gets sold off. Can you believe that? She literally called this, gets sold off, and brings us back to flat. Crazy. When this card trends, let's see, it is in the negative direction. So be careful chasing any longs. There you have. We are trending and we are in the negative direction at the moment. Tuesday, 7 of Pentacles. This card usually brings continuation, which would be downside. But if we have a flat day on Monday, there's a high chance of a trend day on Tuesday. I'm not really sure. She's not. So I don't think she's calling for a turnaround Tuesday. I think she's calling BS on turnaround Tuesday this week. Therefore, we're hoping for a flat green close Monday. Unless so, if it's a flat to green close today, we're red. We're red.
Well, yeah, because if we lose
So
Friday's
that's not
low,
happening. So
and
because we don't have a flat to green close Monday, we're not going to get long Tuesday. Otherwise, anything red probably brings more red Tuesday. Like, I mean, maybe we can wait to see what the close looks like.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah. Wednesday, the Hanged Man. This card is telling me that, like crypto, which is a crypto thing, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday brings a series that comes to a pause. Okay, cool. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It doesn't mean mean reversion, but look for less energy today than yesterday. So energy Tuesday, less energy Wednesday.
That's chopping ahead of your Mag 7 earnings. That's perfect.
Swing long
Perfectly makes
Wednesday.
sense.
Yeah. This is a good day to take profit and prepare for possible mean reversion the following day, which is Thursday. I still wouldn't get in the way of momentum until the day is done. All right. So Thursday is 2 of Wands. Another 2 signals so 2 is like low, right? Not super strong. So maybe you don't have to get long Wednesday, but you can wait till Thursday morning. Another 2 signals another direction. And because wands are impulsive, it may be, I take it back. It may be a wild one. See, this is why I don't do the readings, because I don't really know. Anyways, this card is capable of trend days, so don't fade it. Well, I like the trend. If we get a trend on Thursday, we'll roll with it. History does confirm that mean reversion is likely, so it looks like a day for a retrace to the upside if we've been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday downside into non-farm payrolls. That's Friday. That's Thursday. She wrote a book for Friday. That's all I can tell you. So Friday, this is a book, man. Friday, the 9 of Wands. 2 to 9 is interesting. Same suit, same characteristics. The 9 suggests that we're nearing the end of this particular move, but it actually mean reverts more often than not. So like if Monday through Wednesday is like down to choppy, I just feel like this is the week to
Friday just sends us
BTFD
somewhere.
I don't know, because mean reversion. If it's Monday through Wednesday down, big mean reversion out to end the week. This makes a lot of sense, especially
we pull back 3 or 4 days, make a bull flag, and boom.
Yep.
Maybe that's hopeful thinking. I don't know.
I mean, dude, this
seems like it's lining up for that.
It looks exactly like it's lining up for that. And I mean, if it comes down really deep, like, dude, that's gonna be juicy. Therefore, this is a rare case where I won't signal direction. All right, Miss Cleo. But I will for swing traders, and instead will tell day traders to look for quick mean reversion. So Miss Cleo isn't sure if it's gonna last. I think if we have a red start to the week and we just close the week with the biggest green, blah blah blah, you know, that's it. I mean, unless we get a crazy Trump tweet, which is very likely, right? So anyways, you never know, right? Or some headline, right? So won't signal for swing traders. Instead, tell day traders to look for quick mean reversion swings throughout the day. That's a big day trading day. This is where the money is. For example, a red day brings quick squeezes right when bears get comfortable to the upside. A green day brings a big drop right when the bulls start chasing. Oh, so she's saying it's impulsive day. All right. So she's not really bearish or bullish, but something's happening. A lot of chop. I do think the energy we wake up with is likely the energy we finish with. So there's that. I mean, she wrote a lot. So buy the red. That's what I'm reading, Miss Cleo. If you're out there. Sorry. I'm reading into your cards. Recap series Monday through Wednesday before mean reversion on Thursday and a day trader's day on Friday. There you have it. So she's thinking a little bit of a pullback. We shall see. I will do. Oh, so this is the training. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, by the way, do that. I'll just drop that really quick. And then I don't know what day I'll send this out, but for sure follow. And then we'll send out some free trainings. I'm positive that I'll get at least a couple earnings. So we have an earning system, right? We call it IVES, Implied Volatility Event System. There's only one way to trade through earnings. And this is that way. So I'll go ahead and teach that since we're getting to the heat of it. And then I'll probably do an NFP training also, since we're getting into I'll probably do it at the end after 5. So maybe next week. And of course, if you're not following EMP, take a minute, click on this link, go give EMP a follow. Dude has been here week in and week out with the crew.
Appreciate that. I do have to jump right now too. Appreciate you, Paper. Appreciate everyone.
All
Be
good,
safe
man.
out there this week.
And I'm gonna jump into the charts here, guys. So go ahead and look at this guy. Too funny. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and do another quick screen share. This one is gonna be of the stonk market. Let me see if we can get set up. Here's a quick look, first look, right? As always. So usually I like to do like a 30-minute chart. Let me go ahead and move this somewhere. Let's see what's the best. This is gonna be fine. So this is a 30-minute chart. I have SPY, Qs, diamonds, IWM, the redheaded stepchild of the market. We have the dollar, DXY down here on the bottom left, TLT, which is the long bond. We call the long bond, 20-year plus bond, gold, and I'm watching the VIX right now. So these are typically, this is my first view in general. If you guys want, go ahead, drop a couple tickers. I'll cut it off once I get there. But there's a couple things to note. I think so. First and foremost, if I did structure, right? So this is actually up here. Let me go ahead and take this down. I know I just had it on a different chart. Maybe it's on this chart. Yeah. A little bit better chart. So we have like a definitive prevailing downtrend. If you haven't caught that, right? Definitive prevailing downtrend. This is a lower high. This is a lower high. Today is definitively a higher high. So I think, from a technical perspective, it is definitively a higher high. We have our equal lows here. And so what are we going to be looking for moving forward? We're actually going to be looking for a higher low on this pullback. Notable is that this downtrend that we hit, let's say right there, we're right on it, right? If I looked at the Qs, and I will in a little bit, the Qs are actually above this prevailing downtrend, which is very interesting. I think, if you know me again, I follow these NFP levels. So Friday's high, this was that Friday's high over here. This was the box that we were chopping in. Tuesday, you have a trigger outside over the box. It's not until Thursday you get a higher low, with 2 full days trading outside of above that Friday high. This is your long for sure. It's at that point we're like, okay, the next low is here. Now we can still look for another higher low. It can be anywhere down here, but notice this white line on my screen. I'm just going to take these. So the white line right here, that's your 20-day simple moving average. That's actually going to line up to just about Thursday's open. And this little blip inside, I think that's going to be a pretty important spot. Anywhere as close to the 20-day simple moving average on SPY is where I'm going to be looking to maybe get a little bit more aggressive towards the upside. So again, this lines up with Miss Cleo's kind of idea. An average weekly range, you might freak out on this one. This is gonna be wild. So an average weekly range for SPY at this point is going to be this entire box right here. So check this out. So that's actually gonna take us up to 578 on SPY and down as low as 526 on SPY. This type of pullback here and tagging that Friday high, that would be like, oh my God, that's ideal. And then back to the upside. If we do continue on immediately straight to the upside, I would be a little bit more cautious of stuff like this. We might chop, you might get a single press, but this definitively would get faded if we do see something like that. So you got to be cautious, right? So if we go too far, too fast off of this press, let's say you get up to that 578 type average weekly range, for sure, the bears are going to step in hot and heavy. I don't actually want to see that this week. That would not be ideal. I'd rather see this pullback and give it some time for the market to actually get long before we start going up to the upside. Because if we do go too far, too fast, my gut says that definitely gets faded pretty quickly in that case. For now, what we're dealing with is we're actually dealing with this pivot right here. So this is from March 13th low and this kind of bottom in here. That's exactly what we're like basically what we're running up against right here on Friday and this moment right now. So that pivot is 549. I wasn't sure if like 550 is going to be like a major psychological level. I just don't think it is going to be a big one. But that's SPY for now. 570s, mid 570s, maximum upside, maximum velocity. But again, if we get there this week, that's kind of needs to be faded. And then downside, definitely viable anywhere down to 526. Am I adjusting my condors? No. So my condors actually are up to 570 right now. And some later ones are up in like maximum like 560s on some longer dated ones, which again, if I drew that out, this is kind of where I was saying maximum upside. And I would think that gets faded quickly. That's gonna be beautiful for my condors. So no, I'm not touching those at all. Pretty sure they're all bright green right now. I do have some more, but as I open them, as the stock market moves, like right now, I'll tell you the one I looked at today was down to 515 and up to 580s. And so if I opened a 40-day condor right now, this is the box right here that I'll get paid in. And if you're listening, where's the maximum upside? The full week's range, dude, you're not even close to that. And maximum upside here. This is going to cover all of that for the current condors at a 25 VIX. So yeah, I love them still. I'm still loading them every week. I'll add some more. And that's what it is. And I might close a couple this week that are like 70% green, something like that, 50 to 70% profit on the shorter dated ones. So that's SPY right here. I'll take a look at the Qs. Qs a little bit different. Oh, and this is that. So current uptrend is slightly breaking for SPY. I'm going to use a parallel channel. I like these a little bit more than just a straight line. So if this is right here where we are, I do want to grab that as the total channel, as the full channel up that we're kind of traversing in. So to this end, like this channel still supports all of that. Pull back down to that 20-day simple and then pop up. That would be like best case scenario. We come down a little bit, something like that. That's the healthiest trajectory right there for SPY that we could see in a while. But again, with this simple moving averages coming in a little bit tighter here. So this is the 20 days is going to come up, 50 days is going to slightly come up. As these get a little tighter, we can expect some chop, but it's really kind of like loading for a move that will be coming. Maybe not this month, maybe next month. We'll see. QQQ, again, daily. Here's where we are. So the box from a non-farm payroll perspective is this entire box up to 480 down to 441. The trigger here was on Tuesday, again, all the way out of Friday's high. So this was Friday's high. We are going up. Where do we go up to? 480 is where we go up to from a max capacity perspective. Again, if we're too high too fast, that's probably going to get faded. I'll just do this from a weekly perspective. Where are the average weeks ranges? This is your average weeks box. I have this automated. It's really small kind of dot, so you won't really see it. But an average weeks range to the upside on QQQ 500. Oh, 500, which would hit this right here. Again, maximum velocity upside. Average weeks range downside. This is a 14 week average, which is I'm constantly adjusting that. That's constantly adjusting with the market. 445s for the average week downside, which again, that would be a beautiful dip buy if I saw something like that. But that's the average weeks range, 445 to 500 on QQQ. Pretty wild. If I pull this back, again, that prevailing kind of downtrend that I was talking about from the tippy top highs somewhere up in here and connecting these lows, you can see, okay, we have broken that trade war, whatever downtrend. This is broken, right? Usually the first break is a fade, and then you want to see it come back into and hold that same broken downtrend and then bounce. So this pullback today, I think this is healthy. This is super healthy from a structural perspective. Lower highs, lower highs. This right here, this morning's move, it's definitively a higher high, right? So that said, you have to know, okay, what do? We go into buy it is a higher high. So where can that lower high show up or higher low show up? Anywhere around that 20-day would be ideal. Then you want to see it kind of base and then start to move back to the upside. And the next move, you do want to see break this more recent high. It can struggle a little bit and come in like this and do a little bit of this. But eventually you do want to see it break that next, that 480 kind of level. But for now, this is the pullback right into that prior sell wall here, where these were support, which ended up being resistance here. We're coming back in, just banging our head up against resistance. This fail can be a little bit larger near term, but again, it's very likely to be the dip to buy for the next, call it 6 months or so. So that's cues there. Diamond similar. Again, Friday high, 396. So this one has not moved nearly as much, but the upside here is up to 421 on DIA. A little bit different setup. But this looks like we could get in the next 6 months or so pretty close to back to where we were. Let's see this one. This one is not quite as pretty. It's moved intraday, like quickly, impulsive, straight to the high. This purple line is a 200-week simple moving average on IWM. 200 is going to be that wall that she fights. Until then, when it's close to 185s, below 190s for your dip buys on IWM for the near term. Assuming that nothing changed the markets, that's not trade related. I think any trade war headline, that tariff headline that creates a red day, I think that's what I mean. Like if it's a trade war headline, I feel like those are the ones that that you would want to look for to be like buyable dips. I don't think that any tariff headline is going to push this market lower. All right, so I saw a Google request. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to open up a kind of multi-time frame view here. Oh, I'm long Disney, by the way. I do like this one. But Google, a lot of people are like, I like Google. The cheap do get cheaper. I don't know if this is this heartbreaking for you guys? This is so wild. But like, here's your earnings report, right? You get a huge move. Great report. Great report. I mean, here we are. So Google has given back the entire earnings move. It almost gave, geez, I didn't even notice this. It was 168 in the pre. I didn't even notice this on Friday. It gave most of it back on Friday. Today, as of this moment, you've officially given back that entire earnings report completely. Completely. I think in general, you can kind of take these charts and look at, just pull little lines across. If you do have these, like this would be your channel. You'd want it to kind of base out here, but let me use that channel again. But even if it doesn't, like bottom right here, right now, I think you'd be okay. But this is your channel. Oops. This one needs to go here. And it can come down all the way down to that 20-day simple. Again, right into that's 155. I wouldn't have thought that low, but it can and still be a buyable dip. So again, anything here, this is that last low of 146. Anything over that and even 150, to me, that's still buyable. Yeah, it's given away this exact earnings report, but hey, it's Google. It's a laggard for sure. I mean, somebody pushed this higher. That's not selling volume. The question is like, do they buy it back up? You're coming in to retest this. This was the wall for a while right here. So a little bit of a blip below. What we call this is like a look below and fail. That would be ideal. A look below as fail is like, okay, you come down here and then you look like it wants to press down lower and it comes down and then it eventually comes back up. That's a look below. It's looked below, but then it ends up failing to go lower. Kind of like your look above and fail. That would be ideal, actually. And that, I'm going to grab this little teeny tiny wick. That's 157. I had 156 on my bingo card. Oh, 156.90. 156.90s. Anything inside this fair value, I think would be not bad. That's what I'd be looking for on Google. And then upside. So upside targets here, like 6 to 9 months, would be like if we can get back into the, let's say, 180s, and fill this area over there. And then you got to take measures because, again, technically speaking, we have done too much damage to say it's not a technical bear market. Is it a fundamental bear market? I think that's TBD, right? So technical, yes, it's a bear market. Fundamental, no, TBD. And I think that's the battle that's happening right now, for sure. Update on silver. Yeah, we could do that. So silver, I actually closed silver just because the market was going a little bit higher. I mean, I had a trigger on Tuesday. The market's going to go higher. Confirmed, validated on Thursday. Market's going higher. So I did. So silver was kind of like the safety trade, if you will, or like the inverse market trade. It's not going lower. Super similar to gold. I do need to look at gold. I said I would. Sorry. I don't know that you need to close them. I'm just getting more interested in long equity here, at least for a bounce. Gold's got a pretty heavy, this is a session gap from Thursday night. It's getting into that. Yeah, this is a tough one. So this looks like, here's your box. I feel like I want to wait on gold. You have two gaps. One is to 315, and the other one's down to 290s. And then you have all the way down to 293 to the downside. I was looking at the chain. I feel like it's June. But this is not breaking trend in any direction just yet. It's literally in this little box right? So inside the box, it can kind of go either way, meaning it would be a better short, like way up here to pull back. And then you kind of see where does it pull back to. I don't know that gold has to be a short either. I just don't know that it has, because it could still be a long later. Don't know that it has to be a short. Or this comes down. I don't want to get stuck and see more consolidation. So it'd have to be something like this that pops up and then rejects to the downside somewhere underneath that box. Technically, gold trade's weird. It's very gappy. It's not the easiest to trade in general. But this is technically overhead resistance inside this box. Technically. And silver would be very similar. So technically, it's going to be a lower high right in here. Here's that box, technically. But is it doing anything? Not really. Not yet. If this is high, lower high, definitely lower low, then this whole thing is a lower high, which is kind of like where I'm exiting. Exited like right in here somewhere. That's why I get a little concerned, if this is a lower high, no dice, right? And you did fill, we have like an imbalance right in here up to $30.64. Again, these are very choppy. Like it come down, if I get something like that, I might be a little bit more interested. Sub 30, potentially. That goes into GDX as well. So a lot of conversations around GDX. I still like it. The reason I haven't really been trading GDX as much personally is just because GDX, they're equities, they're companies. They need the market actually to do pretty well in order for this to continue on. And if we do turn around, I do think that they could do pretty well, especially if stuff like crude, so GDX, gold miners, oil is their single largest expense. If crude is coming down itself, their expenses as a cohort are coming down as well. I think it could be bullish for gold miners in general. I like a little bit more of a pullback, but maybe I don't get it. I think that's the question, right? Like I may get it, I might not, but I think GDX, the switch from miners, switch to miners from the underlying asset, I think is probably in the cards. So who wants to do Bitcoin? All right, we can do Biddy. So Biddy is what we had Bart Simpson, long-term Bart Simpson, ay caramba, turns into a short-term inverse ay caramba right there. But you're right into resistance. So no, this is not a long. Again, I'm not. And then you're going to have another one. And so this is going to go sideways, and then it's going to come down, and it's going to go sideways, and it might come up, then it go sideways and come down, and then do it again. But if this is the trajectory, I mean, down here, sub 90 is where you'd want to pick it up, right in here. So this is your box. This is the box that Biddy has bet in for a very long time. This is about $90,300, give or take, right there. I'll take this big box away. But it's pretty prevalent when you zoom out enough, and you can kind of see where are these wicks coming from, like where are buyers stepping in, right? I think we saw some of that inverse for a bit here where it turned into resistance. But now the question is, does it turn into support? Which ends up being somewhere around the 200-day simple. I don't know that this is like, oh, you're going to like face ripping rally. I can't say that for sure. I can't say that. It's just not the setup. The setup is sideways. I'll just give this to you. If for some reason we do get out of there, and again, more confluence, this is about 97,000. 97,000 is where sellers are really going to step in, and the buyers could step in as close to 90 as you can. But if this is a base that we extend from, you're still at the 120s. So if this is a big consolidation that does eventually get broken out of, this is 130s, and a full doubling would be 145 on this bitty box bean, if this is the box. If this is the box, that consolidation expansion would take you into just under 160, just around 160s. if that goes down. Too early to say. That's not, you're not going to be able to say that until you're over 110. So over 110, then you're like, oh, okay, this is happening. But until then, it's not, it's way ahead of schedule to be looking at that. But I know some people are, so there you have it. I gave it to you. So now you want to see this basically get bought up to at least support that the lows are more or less in for this round on the biddy. Does that make sense? Should be helpful. Let me see. All right, so we got RIVN. RIVN looking nice, but okay. So RIVN reports early May. RIVN looking quite nice, I must say. This is massive consolidation. Let me take some of these levels off. One thing that's jumping out on me. Well, I got a couple things jumping out on me. So this first look trend line just barely broken. It's coming in earnings, so no question. What's bullish that's held is this low, higher low, another higher low, another higher low. It's another one, another one. But are we out of this yet? No, we are not. So this is now becomes like the real consolidation. This thing is more kind of like, more like near term, like that. So that puts you in a trajectory basically up to 14s into this overhead supply. You're currently in this right now. So that would put you into this next area higher. And, earnings could change that. This is a daily chart. We're getting a squeeze on the daily now. But does that mean that we squeeze all of this? I mean, that would be wild. But this is a pretty big base. I think RIVN makes it in general. Like they did have gross profitability last quarter. Is it going to be a net profitable quarter? I don't know, but I would say that that's what is going to move the stock higher for now. I'm not selling this. I own RIVN, but I'm not selling into this. I would let it go. It's going to be after that quarter to see like, okay, if this breaks out, let's say you see 15, it'll then pull back. And then I think it could be into this accumulation range one more time. But I think it's too early to sell this. You got a few more days ahead of that quarter, especially after last quarter is pretty good. So I like that a lot. Rocket, RKT. This is Rocket Mortgage, not Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab, by the way, is over the big pivot. If you don't know, the big pivot is $21.34. Rocket Lab, trying to make a break for it here, breaking that downtrend also, and back over that prior all-time high. That's a big break. If it can hold this for the week, that's going to be pretty constructive. Rocket Lab looking to turn the corner. Rocket Mortgage, on the other hand, this is as neutral of a chart that I can find. 1150. This is not going anywhere yet. No. This is a no touch, not a trade zone. If you own it, hold it. It's not going down, but I definitely don't have any signs that this is going up either. It's a hard one. It doesn't move a whole lot, but except for when it does. But but yeah, I think it's stuck in the zone. 1260s is kind of like that. So you have overhead supply up at 20s, which was that last time. Let's do this. If I get here, just kind of measure this. Yeah, so this from this high to this low, this 1585 level, triple top right in here. This is your kind of like golden pocket for the bears. So that's where the bears are showing up. You couldn't get over that yet, so it's still got to collect more buyers. It's not a chart I'd be interested in trading. The Stola with the trifecta. All right, Meta, interesting. So big broad information, got into the depths here and actually held. Nice little double bottom. I was about to take this bad boy short. Actually, I think I might have taken it for a little bit towards the lows. Holds. She did not break down. Holds there with the big, nice double bottom, which has held thus far. Lower high. So again, 525s. This is the top of this box here. You would like to see that hold ahead of earnings. Someone was asking, I want to buy Meta and Amazon, but I'm not sure if I should wait. I would do it this way. I would buy a little beforehand, and if it gets sold off, then I would have a lot of ammo to buy later. But I think honestly, I think you can dip. I think you can dip your toe in, but just in case, like have a lot of ammo. Basically enough to be like, okay, I got it, because I don't want to chase it after the fact. So go a little bit beforehand, especially as close to 225 as you can, or 525, sorry, as you can, and then look to see that this base holds as support again, and this ends up being a little bit of a liquidity grab. The chart is more neutral at the moment. So it is going to have to wait for earnings to have some kind of catalyst move. Either it's upside, or if it's downside, it might be like a flush downside. And then if it pops up and fails below 500, then you can be like, all right, well, we're going lower. But that's Meta for now. I think, this is price discovery mode. It's a good company. And it's not super expensive. It's a good company at a fair price if the growth scare is kind of like off the table. So that's what we're still looking at, right? So we're still looking at the growth scare in general. So here's Amazon. I'm going to back Amazon out to a weekly chart. So what's weird about this, and I said this a while ago, is that even if Amazon came all the way down to, 140s, which it almost did, or 170s, it still would have been valid. I didn't want to see this low get violated, which was 150. So I didn't want to see 150 get violated on Amazon. It has not, but you're also still like, you're right on top of the box here. So you bounced off. So the box is this 2020 to 2022 consolidation. See that? That's the box. This was a 2024 liquidity grab. So far, this has locked in another higher low from a longer term perspective. So of all the charts out there, Amazon still holding full structure. Mostly, I say mostly. If we connect this can still go higher, Amazon, but it's really got to hold. That's 210 right there. It's really got to break and hold over this here. That's 200. Sorry. At 200. And that's going to be just slightly over the 200-day simple moving average. So on Amazon, I could actually see it getting up over 200, which is where you need to be a little bit more cautious, because this could pull back down. And then if it holds that 180 level and then starts to do a little something like that, that's when we're like, all right, we're off and running. So that said, it could be again, a little bit early, like hop in, but a fail, let's see what a fail would look like. A fail could look closer to those 140 levels and that 200-week simple moving average, which even still on a longer term basis, I don't hate that. I actually kind of like that, because it can come down and hit that 150 and still be valid from a market structure. So this is that last low. It's still a higher low at 151. Crazy. And then you're looking at this longer term. So this is not short term, right? So then you're looking at that longer term. Here's your cup, right? Here's your handle. And that's the trajectory. So like you can see this, even if it comes down and tags that, it's still valid. So I like this. It's just this is more like investing kind of trajectory. Near term, you're kind of in the box, kind of, but here's that 178 is that major pivot. I don't know that we get really there. I think the 20-day simple, which is the white line here across the board, ends up being kind of your best kind of dip buy zones that you want to look for. So the 20-day on Amazon is pretty close. It's just over 180. So as close to 180 as you can get. You know what I didn't do? And I need to do this. Do we do a check on internals? Do you guys look at internals when I go through them? Give me a quick yes or no. Do you want to look at internals? Were you asking me about Disney and the server? Someone was asking like, why are you doing Disney? Disney was simple. I already had the trigger to go long on SPY on Tuesday, right? So remember, my trigger to go long on SPY was Tuesday, and this is Tuesday coming into Tuesday. So the level was here, and I'm like, okay, we're confirming Wednesday, Thursday, definitively confirmed, right? Disney, if you go back, here's Tuesday breakout. This is the closest pullback of all the charts that I was looking at. And I know that Netflix is like, okay, you're going. So streaming, just another reason why I kind of like Roku. This is the big long. So this dip, I think it was Thursday or whatever. Yeah, man, I'm buying this. I have a very strong base here, but it's not for like a short term thing. Like I think you could buy equity. And all that, and you're over the 20-day simple now. That's fine. I think this is the trade, right? This is Disney does this all the time. I've traded this 100,000 times. Is exactly this range. Oops, sorry, I kicked the camera. Under 80 into 120. One time, 2 times, 3 times. This is just the 4th time in the last couple of years. That's it. Super simple. But that's the box that Disney trades in. Again, it's not a short-term box, but like, dude, all of that, right? And so, yeah, I'm doing it. And then if you have something left over, yeah, it's going. So I like Disney, man. I don't know what to tell you. I like Disney. Earnings Wednesday the 7th. I don't think it's going to be breakout. I don't care. I'm long Disney. It is what it is. Don't know what to tell you. I went to downtown Disney this weekend, and it was actually pretty busy. I didn't go into the park, but it also looked busy. Oh, actually, true story. I went to the zoo instead. We're gonna do a safari. Sorry, but no. Oh shoot, geez. Good. Sorry, we didn't do head. Let me do internals since we do have a couple. Yes, internals. Before we go further, I'm supposed to do that early. So this is SPY. I have this up at SPX. ADD. Let me just change this to 5-day, 5-minute views. 5-day, 5-minute. All right. So SPX is going to be, let me just put that over there. I don't like it over there. Sorry. So these are what we call internals. This is basically like you go to the doctors, you get your checkup, he checks your heart pressure, like blood pressure, heart rate, blah, blah, blah. that's the kind of same thing when we do when we're talking about internals, right? So SPX, this is the last week. So this is, I don't know what day, Tuesday here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Monday again today. So Monday, as you can tell, we're selling off. This is net flows. So $ VOLD is like net inflows minus outflows. So we can see we're still selling off pretty significantly when it came on Monday. Tuesday was the day that we got the trigger. It wasn't actually, let me do this too. If I change to a 5-day or 10-day, right? The sell-off was pretty aggressive, right? So that's more like this is liquidity grab. And we can do even further. 20. But so this Monday, of all the outflows, it's kind of like the outflows were slowing down. So net flows on the red on the bottom right hand screen here, slowing down, right? Then we get into that Monday. Tuesday, here are the up inflows. Tuesday, big push to the upside, and then follow through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And today we're pretty flat, right? So we're pretty neutral. This is live right now. I'm going to drop back down to the 5-day, 5-minute. We opened up today, and this is why I'm not like, okay, we opened up today positive. So net flows were positive this morning, kind of started to pull back. This green line across is the zero line. So I just have the zero lines marked out. We've since turned negative, but again, look at the negative. Like they're not anywhere close to it, right? So this is last Friday. Last Friday's lows, very neutral close on Friday, somewhat neutral day today. Advanced decline line, super similar. So 80 advancers versus decliners. So very heavy up in the 2000s. Small red on Friday. This morning we open, we're green, and we're coming back down, but it's negative 700. We're not like where we were. So if I go say where we were, on advanced decline, we're way low, right? We're not seeing the negative 2000, 2500 anymore. We were like negative 2500, which is pretty much as low as you get. Very rare to see that. Negative 700 is pretty neutral print, right? So again, this kind of supports the whole thing of like, well, it's dip buyable for sure. Don't want to chase the rebounds because you're not. This is what this is telling me right now is we're not ripping to the upside, right? This is ripping to the upside when you have net flows just absolutely all day, like boom, boom, boom. They're just hammering it, right? And you could see this on the internals. This is trend day, boom, right? Trending day, boom. Trending day, boom. Does the trend was getting a little bit weaker? It looks like 85, 90 million was the high mark on that. And then we get into neutral territory, and we're still in neutral territory. So we're not going to get a trend day today. That's what this is telling me definitively right now. From a tick perspective, what I'm looking for, and I'll just look at today right now. Actually, we should go back to Tuesday and just do that. So here's Monday. This box. Here's Monday's tick. So Monday is a red day. So Monday, this is Monday. The tick on the day starts out negative 1200. That means that it's going to be probably pretty trendy. But the majority of the day, again, this green line is underneath the zero line all the way up to the absolute close, which it gets a little bit more neutral, but definitively a cumulative tick becomes more positive at the end of Monday. Right. So that's super interesting. It's very notable when you see that kind of change, right? What we're looking at after the fact, and we go into, so that was Monday. If you look at Tuesday, right, here's Tuesday's candle or Tuesday's tick. All of this, the majority of Tuesday is trading over the zero line, very little underneath, right? Wednesday, same thing. We open up pretty heavy. Wednesday starts to get a little bit weaker, but opens up over the zero. Then you get some trending. Okay, we're below the zero for the majority of the day, in majority of the afternoon. So you might be getting a little bit tired. Thursday, buyers are stepping in. So Thursday, this is your zero line. you're pretty much over the zero line for the entirety of that day. Friday, very neutral throughout the day, little bit. And today we have a little bit of accumulation below the zero line today. So a little bit of selling coming in today. Really, when you look at the net flows, I mean, really minimal. Maybe we get one of those red days at the close. But again, the question is how aggressive does it get, right? Does it get to negative 90,000? Probably not. And then by the end of the week, look at this. This is 20 days, or this is 1 hour. I don't even know what. It's probably 20 days. Most of the selling's been done. So even if we get a little bit of selling, it's not likely to be much worse. So, and again, more accumulating on the buy side. So that's the internals right there. I think looking constructive, but not like we're going to rip face or break out today. That said, again, why would I go to a Disney? It's more like this is more catch up, right? So Netflix, super like not affected by tariffs. I like Roku. Roku's going to report like right away. Streaming. I mean, Netflix is doing good. Roku should be doing good, but it's more international story at that point. At the lows. Weird, right? For me to be like, okay, I kind of like Roku. Kind of like Roku. It might be an underrated story. Mega cap that could go back to big cap. I'm doing $100 call Disney May 26th. I mean, dude, you gotta understand it's got earnings coming, right? And we have to do hoodie. I can't believe we didn't do hoodie. So hoodie, not a buyer in here. I sold those 38 puts, by the way. I sold those 38 puts. I really thought I was gonna get put the stock. I'm a little disappointed. I did not get put the stock. Those were sold for $5 and expired worthless. So what am I gonna do now? I think now I go back to BTFD mode, but this red box here, which was resistance, I want to see turn into support. So that means that the dips towards that 50 and 220-day SMAs, again, as close to 40, 45 at this point. I feel like saying 40. Before it was like as close to 25 as you can get, close to 30 as you can get. And then 35, and good God, we're all the way back up to 50. If you're not in it, I don't know what to say. Because if it goes, it's just a rocket ship. This is actually a very hard chart. I'll tell you what, I don't trade Robinhood a whole lot. And if you're in the group, you know, I rarely trade Robinhood. I just own it. So, I mean, that's what's true here. 53 is going to be that first upside kind of resistance level. I'll put up here. This is where it broke out before. So around 50, 53, 54. Let me see this. What's this from? I don't need that anymore. What we can do is I'm going to take a fib from the absolute tippy top highs to the absolute lows. This is constructive, man. It's constructive. So what this is from the swing highs here to the swing lows. This 48 level, that's a 50% retracement. That's right in the middle, right? So I'd say over 54s, this is rippy rippy to 60s. Again, 63s, high 60s, potentially new all-time highs. But I just say the beta on this stock is absolutely intense. The beta on this stock is insane. So you got to buy it when it's like bright red. That's what I've learned. And not when it's not. If you're watching, I guess. Otherwise, just keep doing it. Let me look at something really quick. I want to look at what Hood's average move is because they do report Thursday. These guys, This is not for the faint of heart. Last quarter, 14%. The quarter before that, 16%. A couple 3%, another 13, another 14. So I'd say this is like a 15% average mover on earnings. 15% would be 55s to the upside, and probably exactly what I was just looking at to the downside. Probably. Yeah. And then 40s to the downside. So sub 40s, maybe let it breathe after earnings move, potentially give it a 3-day rule to really breathe. But this remains your kind of dip buy zones as close to 40 as you can. I know it's really far away, but it is what it is. And resistance is in that near 55 level. But I wouldn't sell it at 55. I mean, would you sell Hood at 55? I don't know. That's a tough one. Would I sell Hood at 55? No. No. But I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not really drooling at the $40 dip buy either, although I would do it. I would do it. Am I drooling all over it? I don't know. I mean, you guys know I'd be drooling on under 30 for sure. But I think this is just like fair where it is. It's still stuck in the box, but the box is really big. The box is really big on this one. Tessie. All right, TSLA. Interesting. So TSLA was a perfect pullback, retrace, nice double bottom here, locking in a higher low, I believe ahead of earnings. But again, not quite out of the box, but coming in. So this was that low area. This is your major supply zone. If you get another test close to that 250, I think it holds at this point. You've spent the better part of 45 days near term. This is what I mean. I think this is all dip Bible. So, but where is the dip? Is the dip 280 or is the dip 250? I think it depends on your time horizon. What are you trading for? Like, will that matter, right? Because 350s to 330s is still going to be your upside target regardless, right? So that would look like this, and that could take some time to play out. I think 330 is going to be that. I don't think that is going to be an average bounce back. That is going to be an average bounce back on Tesla. So 330 is your upside target. I guess the question is like, how close are you, and how big of a discount do you get, right? So 250 to 330, that's where you're going, right? And I think in between, you're kind of like accumulation zone on Tassie. 260, as close to 260, 250 as you can get. Let me just do a quick measurement here to here. Yeah, this is going to be about 255. If it's that one. But yeah, I think I like this, man. I like this. I've liked it for a long time anyways. You know, been right for most of it, but wrong more recently. Can't win them all. I like it though. I like it, man. Oh, you want to do AMD? That we can do AMD. AMD, dude. AMD is just not. It's still not doing it. I can't. So yeah, 75. You got the downside target. I've not been into shorting AMD for a while, but dude, you can't like look at this and be like, what? How is this happening again? AMD has not been able to crack this $100 level. Maybe it's a psychological level. I don't know. You pull this all the way across, you're like, it's running into it. Is it a dip buy? Is AMD a dip buy? Good question. 90s, mid to low 90s. You're there. Sorry. You're 90. You're 94 right now. It's going to go at it again. This is 1, 2, 3, fourth attempt. I think it goes. I think you do it. I don't think it's a short, man. I don't really think it's a short. And even if it is, it's a short-lived short. I'm not an AMD bull by any means. But look at this. It's just not like, so this is a perfect example of like the bulls have every opportunity right here and right now to just absolutely destroy AMD. I mean, the Bears. The Bears have every opportunity right here, right now to go at AMD. And yet, this is the blip that they're able to do. I'm not an AMD bull, but this chart is not bearish at this point. It's very constructive. I said that out loud. It's not breaking down yet. And the thing is, like, even if it does break down, this is how all the charts are. Even if they do break down, like, dude, that's a buy. So, yeah. Hate it, don't hate it. It is what it is. I don't know why you'd want to own AMD over NVIDIA. So we could look at that. Again, one that's lagging. Would you rather AMD or NVIDIA here now? I would rather NVIDIA here now. Like right now. Can this still go to 50? Absolutely. But this is technically, so here's your structure. Not out of the weeds quite yet. $104, kind of holding that 20-day. It's the first reclaim of 20-day on NVIDIA for a while, and we have mega cap earnings. We already heard from Google. Cloud's doing fine, right? Do you think Amazon Cloud's going to do worse than Google? No. You think Microsoft Cloud is going to do worse than Google? No, right? Like, at least it's a bounce, and I do think that we get close to that $3 trillion mark, which is $123 at least, if not a little bit higher, if not 120s, 118s. 118 is where you have a little bit more overhead resistance. But this hasn't done the deed yet. But this is, again, if this week turns out to be like, okay, Miss Cleo is right? Like if this week, early this week, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, the Bears have every opportunity and every reason to be able to push this market lower right here, right now. They're going to go for it. But if they just don't have enough ammo left, it's got to go higher. It's got to go higher because the Bears cannot push it lower. It has to go higher if it's going to go lower, if that makes sense. So I like NVIDIA better. Even though it's not ready, it's close to ready. I think that would be anticipating. I like NVIDIA right here, right now, and I'd like it a little bit lower too. So I don't know. It's just me. Did you guys even ask for NVIDIA? I don't know. No, I didn't. Julie, I didn't really look at Fublo. We can. It's good. I think the streamers are fine. I just don't know. Like, look, this thing gave back the whole Hulu buy. It's a $3 stock, so it's really hard. You don't really want to look at anything under less than the daily. And even this is a little messy, but it honestly it looks like it's basing out. I can't tell, like, is it going to squeeze to 100? It's too small to really look. but $5 is where the overhead supply is and where it kind of failed at last time. So if it does have a decent quarter, I mean, 3 to 5 on equity alone is not bad at all. PayPal is, yeah, that Arnie said PayPal is PayPaling. PayPal. PayPal is PayPaling. This is equal low. But there's so many lines here, it gets really choppy, man. I can't believe it's $50 again. That's crazy. So I think this is where we are. So what moves SPY back? Does it have to be mega caps? I don't think it has to be mega caps to push SPY back. Because you look across the board, you look at stuff like this, like, dude, okay, this is definitely at the lows. There's a lot of stuff that has a lot of catch up to do. That if just those catch up, Shopify, it's kind of another one. It's starting to move. TTD. If those start to catch up, look at these are way at the lows. There's a lot of room for other things. Someone's crap. Oh, I haven't sold it. I bought it the other day, like around $4. It's $4.88, and maybe I missed my sell. This is resistance though. I don't think you pressure bet here. I do not think you pressure bet here. It looks okay, but I did buy it. I've not sold it. If you want to sell it, I think you could do what's called like a trailing stop. You do like trail stop at probably like 4%, 3%, something like that. It's constructive intraday. I'm having a decent day, decent week. What is this guy texting me for? Get out of here. He never texts, and of course I get a text that's gonna be like wild. All right. Earnings tomorrow on I forgot who we were talking about. I'm all right. I'm gonna call it with this one because I do think this one was interesting. 25 was the low end that I had for HIMS. We got there. It didn't break down further. It's the same thing. So you're basing this is constructive. This has been here for a month. I don't hate HIMS. It stopped going down. And so if you want to go along today with earnings on May, I think this is where you start to get your pre-earnings bounce. I just do. It is what it is. Can earnings take it down to sub 20 for sure? So if it has a bad earnings, like sub 20, but between now and then, it's not going to do that. It is going to bounce into that report, holding that $25 level and the 20-day just over the 20-day today. This looks like it could be pretty strong near-term mover, like weekly. 28. Yeah, I don't know why the volume is on these 31s. It was 31 today. So this is that breakdown. 31 seems really far away, but it's not. So this is that breakdown, resistance, pull back into support is 31. Holding the 20 is 31. And if it cracks 31, it's 36. Where's knots? You're like, what? 36 comes from here. And you're going to line up with your 50-day simple. So that looks like a weekly trade. That's a very good setup. I like that a lot. Assuming no headlines break the technicals, but the technicals say that's where it would go in short order, especially if it gets over the 31 level. That's going to confirm it. Until then, it's holding support down in here. It's a big range. All right, guys. That's it for now. Appreciate everybody for dropping in. Appreciate you not, Josh, for your text. But anyways, yeah, follow me on Twitter. I'm going to do some free tradings coming up in the next week or so, a couple weeks that we'll get those out for you guys. We'll teach earnings for free. We'll do the earnings system. We'll talk to you about the non-farm payroll system. I got a lot of cool stuff coming up in the server. And yeah, I think the market looks a lot better, man. The V2, not Josh. All right. Appreciate you guys. As long as I don't know what's the calendar tomorrow. I think it's if I'm gonna be with the Mint on Tuesday, I'm available. I was available last Tuesday, but it was just yeah, I don't know. It looks like Visa, Starbucks, Snapchat. Depends on if he wants to cover earnings versus technicals. That's what it's gonna be up to. So you'd have to tell him, do you want technical Tuesday or do you want earnings calls? And I think it's the heart of earnings season, man. It is what it is. But yeah, I will timestamp everything. Appreciate you guys. You all rock, right? Very cool. June hanging in the whole time, man. All you guys. All right, I will see you on the next one. Adios.